Your cat turning their back to you isn't disrespect, it isn't distance, and it definitely isn't indifference. In fact, when your cat sits with their back to you, they may be showing you one of the deepest forms of trust they know how to give. But there's a hidden reason behind this behavior that most people never notice, and what it reveals about your relationship might be far more emotional than you expect. Because this quiet little moment, your cat facing away, tail wrapped neatly around their paws, is not silence, it's communication. And once you understand what they're really saying, you may never look at that posture the same way again. The first meaning is trust. Simple, quiet trust. When your cat sits with their back to you, they are exposing their most vulnerable side, their spine, the back of their head, the part of their body they cannot see. In the wild, no animal does this casually. Turning your back means lowering your guard. It means believing the one behind you will not hurt you. So when your cat chooses to sit like this near you, on the couch, at your feet, or beside your chair, they are making a silent decision. They feel safe enough to relax. You might be scrolling on your phone, watching television, working at your desk. But behind you, your cat is making a quiet statement. I trust you to watch my back. And here's where it gets deeper. The second meaning is comfort in your presence. Not excitement, not constant attention, just calm, steady comfort. Cats don't always express love by facing you. Sometimes love looks like peaceful coexistence. Your cat sitting with their back to you is a sign that they don't feel the need to monitor you. They don't feel tension in the air. They don't feel uncertainty. They feel settled. After a long day, when the house is quiet, when routines feel familiar, your cat walks over, circles once, then sits down, facing away. No drama, no demand, just presence. That posture is their version of saying, I'm comfortable here. But that's not the most important part. The third meaning is quiet companionship. Cats are not always social in obvious ways. They don't always seek eye contact. They don't always climb into your lap. But they still want to be near you. Sitting with their back to you allows them to share space without pressure, without expectation, without overstimulation. Think about the moments when your cat chooses this position, while you're reading, while you're eating, while you're working in silence. They could be anywhere else in the house, on a windowsill, under the bed, in another room entirely. But instead, they choose to sit near you. Not to interact, not to perform, just to exist beside you. And that quiet choice carries meaning, because presence, in the language of cats, is a form of affection. Most people miss this next one. The fourth meaning is protection. Yes, protection. It might sound surprising, but your cat doesn't just rely on you for safety. Sometimes, they believe they are part of your safety too. When your cat sits with their back to you, they often face outward, toward the room, toward the hallway, toward the door. They position themselves where they can observe the environment, not because they're anxious, but because they are alert. In their mind, they are watching the world while you relax. You might think they're ignoring you, but in reality, they're monitoring the surroundings, tracking movement, staying aware. This behavior is subtle, almost invisible, but it reflects something deeply instinctual. Your cat sees your shared space as territory, and when they sit facing outward, back toward you, they are quietly guarding that territory. And here's where it becomes more personal. The fifth meaning is emotional closeness without vulnerability overload. Cats feel emotions strongly, but they manage those emotions carefully. Direct eye contact can be intense for them. Too much closeness can feel overwhelming. So instead of sitting face to face, they choose a position that balances connection and comfort. Close enough to feel your presence, far enough to stay relaxed. You might notice this when you're feeling stressed or tired. Your cat approaches slowly, sits beside you, turns their back. They stay there, quiet, still, steady. not demanding attention, not asking for interaction, just offering company. That posture is their way of saying, I'm here with you, but I won't overwhelm you. And that gentle emotional awareness is something many people overlook. But the next meaning goes even deeper. The sixth meaning is routine and belonging. Cats are creatures of habit. They build emotional security through repetition. When your cat repeatedly sits with their back to you in the same place, on the same chair, at the same time each evening, it becomes a ritual. A small, predictable moment in their day. And rituals create belonging. That familiar posture becomes part of their understanding of home, part of their sense of stability, part of their bond with you. You might not notice the pattern at first, but your cat does. They remember the rhythm of your movements, the sound of your voice, the feeling of your presence in the room. Sitting with their back to you becomes their way of settling into that rhythm, a quiet signal that everything is normal, everything is safe, everything is as it should be. But there is one final meaning that matters more than all the others. If your cat suddenly stops sitting with their back to you, pay attention, not with panic, but with awareness, because changes in this behavior can reflect changes in how they feel. Maybe they're anxious, maybe they're uncomfortable, maybe something in the environment has shifted. Or sometimes, they may not feel as secure as they once did. Cats communicate through patterns, through repetition, through small, consistent choices. So when a familiar behavior disappears, it's often their quiet way of signaling that something is different. That doesn't mean something is wrong, but it does mean they need your attention, your observation, your care. Because when your cat sits with their back to you, they are not turning away. They are leaning into trust. They are settling into comfort. They are sharing space in the most natural way they know. And in that simple, silent posture, they are telling you something very honest. You are safe. You are familiar. You are home. Because to your cat, this was never just a position.